and NVIDIA.
Back and raring to go here for the HGC 2017 finals as we get into game number 2 to find out if RED Canids can create a ridiculous upset here moving on forwards. Guys, it's only been one map so far, but Roll20 has to be sweating just a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to see RED Canids if they get map pick, like if Roll20 takes first ban instead. Take us to Tomb. Their fighting has been so good.
Nope.
I'm
sorry.
Why are you saying no?
They are okay. Roll20 is yeah. Okay, we can make the argument for RED Canids as they have historically performed well, just haven't been able to get over the hump on Tomb of the Spider Queen. But that is not a team you want to take. Whether it's the Medivh Diablo strat, whether it's Garrosh, you're going to get punished one way or another. I think if you go against Roll20 on that.
We're going to find out where we're going as we do reveal the next battleground going into this best of 3, and then you can dispute it between yourselves.
Oh, no!
Tomb of the
Oh, look at this.
Spider
RED Canids are thinking the same as me. It's
I was
their
thinking the
map
exact
pick.
same as well.
They're going to Tomb. They understand their strengths really well. They're going to bring the fight to Roll20. And I love this pick. And yeah, you talk about the strategies. You talk about the strengths of some of these wild card picks. You go back to the MVP Black series.
Yeah.
I feel you, but do you really want to throw these strategies right now against Latin America?
Say, I would happily love to hear disputing against this, Jay Howe.
Oh, the reason I want to dispute it. Okay, so I'll give credit to Wolf in that RED Canids' strengths coming into this is gonna be team fighting. That's what they're gonna have to do. That's what they did last game. Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's kind of like BOE in the sense that it's small enough that your rotations, you can punish somebody that's out of position. On the flip side, if they feel on Roll20, obviously I don't think they showed any cards in that first game. If they're gonna show their cards, it's gotta be the Garrosh, it's gotta be the Medivh, it's gotta be the Diablo, all strengths that have put Roll20 at the top of the region.
All right, I want to get into game number 2 then. The draft begins. Roll20 currently 1 game down against RED Canids. Skimmy.
Interesting point, though, that we discussed, actually, when we were asking Roll20 before this tournament started, was we have a lot of tricks up our sleeve. We don't feel like we need to use anything to tackle RED Canids. We can play standard. We're a better team mechanically on across every board. But you go into this second map, yes, arguably it works for both teams, but you're thinking, hang on a minute. And they also said, to further that point, we have a lot of tricks up our sleeve. We need to secure #1 seed. We have so many strategies available to us that we can afford to use these if need be.
Yeah, there's the record, as you were alluding to, Jay, how 9-2 in HGC North America, but
that doesn't even tell the full story. They're really damn good on this. Like, I mean, they are dominant on this battleground.
I want to put the focal point on the first ban. We saw highlights on, oh, look at that. They did the research. We saw highlights on the Rhaegar as well. It's always been a staple for Latin America. They move into the TAS, and I think Roll20 is a little bit, I feel like they're definitely shaken in terms of what they're choosing here and how much time they had to take to think about it. They've now given Canids the potential to pick that right wing again. Boss not as big of a factor on this map as is on Sky Temple, but scary thought with how well Vieira played it.
There's a, okay, so, gosh, I want to cheat right now, but I'm pretty sure our statistician, Argy, sent us over something this morning that Prismaticism has a, I'm not even kidding, a 50 KDA on Chromie. 50, as in he kills a lot of people and doesn't die. This is a battleground we've known for them to run it on.
Yep.
And especially the Garrosh, things like that. You want to know why they're so good on this battleground? It's because the heroes that they play, they dominate with them.
Might come back to a case of playing what you know and you love. Justin's so powerful in that Garrosh. And as you say, yeah, Chromie, a fantastic pick for it. I do not want to see the temporal loop. If it is Soloing Sands, please. And thank you. But
there's no way.
HC and Rhaegar, comforts for the RED Canids as well.
Yeah,
Wolf.
it's the comforts coming through here. We saw, one of the cool things that we saw out of Rhaegar in that last map was really conservative play around the Rhaegar ETC, and also very safe Ancestrals. Sometimes one of the best Ancestrals is one that's a little bit too early because you know that that gives you the edge to be able to push further. Is that not every sick Ancestral is the one that where the player's at 2% health and they go up to full? I like how safe they play around the Ancestrals. Yes, sometimes it's too early, but they never missed an Ancestral, and the Rhaegar play got them a few extra kills with the wolf fights and things like that. They're trying to counter what Roll20 is doing by playing safe to their comfort picks. The next 3 picks for RED Canids will respond to what Roll20 brings to the table.
Just so you know, in Phase 2, in 5 games, they played Chromie 4 times. The one time they didn't play it, it was banned out against them. This is Roll20 in a nutshell right now. I'm a little bit surprised at the Genji. I imagine that's probably Glaurung wanting to flex a little bit after that last one. He's like, look, I'm not playing Malfurion in this game. You're not putting me on Malf. I'm going in for the kill. I think that's what we're seeing right now from the Roll20 draft.
And I think that goes back to comforts for Roll20, but it also is a safe play versus the style of RED Canids. You play a more defensive approach with Chromie. You poke the comp that's trying to run at you, the ETC that's so strong in the early game. You play defensively, and Chromie gives you such good control of turn-ins. I think Roll20 is looking to try to deal with that early aggression and push towards late game with the Chromie pick. The Genji is a little bit puzzling, but I think we have to wait and see what supports come with it to find out more.
The thing with ETC, and if you look at different regions, you look at different play styles. I like to call it the bump and slide approach, where ETC likes to kind of get in a little bit, just a little bit. He presses W, especially post level 4. It sends most of the members one way, it sends one and isolates the hero, and you get the slide. Garrosh is not that front lane style hero because he's looking for you to step out so he can drag you in, toss you over, things like that. So the ETC into this does have really good value because if he does get the grab, you have an immediate reactionary appeal that can help your team, but I'm not sure if ETC is necessarily going to be the hard answer to get the picks. That's why I think the Chromie control in particular will control. If you're ETC and you slide to the enemy side of the team, you're probably going to get punished. So that's going to be the biggest focal point for me when watching this game.
Could you have different iteration and go like crowd surfer to be able to try and negate some of that if
certainly,
you do fall down?
100%. 100% could be a possibility. If you recognize that, I'm glad you brought that up. If you recognize that you're going to have very limited opportunities to get that W value, you might look for opt on the side of safety or maybe a little bit playmaking potential at times with that crowd surf. That's a brilliant point.
I was just wondering, I was just thinking for a second as to where Roll20 try and go with this direction. They do decide to ban at the Malfield. Typically a very strong solo laner on this one. You're not really after the wave clear so much in that bottom lane, more so on that 4-man rotation. And I mean, if you look at the first three right now that Roll20 have, it doesn't really scream wave clear to you. It's all about pick potential, trying to find those kills, trying to command the bridge between top and mid so you can secure those first hand, and you can try and once again accelerate that early game lead to hit 10 first. We didn't see it last game, but so far, as you say, comfort picks to secure. The last two will be those flexes, but now it's up to RED Canids. How do they flesh out this ETC Rhaegar? I was wondering if they go for the Brightwing again, personally.
I think they are. I think that you're on the same page as me because they removed the Uther, which is basically just a ban on the Dragon Blade, saying, okay, your Dragon Blade's going to be taken out by our CC or ETC. They take Lucio instead, so not going to have that polymorph factor. They have Sonya, which can also help shut down that Dragon Blade. I really like the Uther ban here. And Lucio's going to give them faster rotations. It speaks to how quickly they want to roam around the map and destroy Roll20 by getting those kills.
This is an insanely sustainable comp. ETC's healing himself, Sonya's healing himself. Let's go for the other two healers as well.
Do you want Dahaka or do you want Diva here? I feel like that's kind of been the story of Roll20. If you look back on them historically since they picked up Goku, Dahaka's kind of been there. Dahaka has fallen out of favor. Remember, there was a slight nerf towards his W. They end up going with a Stukov Brightwing combo. They end up going double support. This is not exactly the composition I expected, but
I like the control that Stukov and Brightwing give against the ETC that we saw. Tui was killing it last game. Some of the best ETC we've seen in this group stage. So I think you're trying to kind of CC him, silence him, and in those moments when he comes in to try to get that pick, he gets caught, polyed, silenced, and then Chromie blows him up.
It's kind of like the old Stitches into Malfurion Roots, right? Except it's a different hero, different iteration. You toss back, you try and slide out. That's kind of been the go-to. It's like, Roots are nice, but what if you just can't use abilities and you just kind of go? And so the Stukov has kind of been that new flavor when you can throw somebody and you put the lurking arm down, they silence them, of course the poly of course as well, but the lurking arm in particular is kind of that deterrent, and ETC can be punished in those situations.
I was thinking for a second, typically saying I would have gone, yep, it's Greymane, that's what J-Shred is so good at, but then when you saw those last two support picks, I'm thinking, I mean, you are at the risk when you convert yourself into that Wargun former being shut down. I was going to try and go along that band wave of saying, oh, maybe it is the kill fast coming out nice and early. It's a fantastic map for it, but the only real thing I suppose that could swing it across, Genji shots it down, you got the Chromie one-shot potential, whether or not you go for the Mana Addict. It's scary.
I think the Greymane's safer. He's got a larger health pool, and he's got good wave clear. Yeah. So you've got this really, not to say Kel'Thas does not, but it's riskier wave clear. Cat doesn't have any camp control. I think the Greymane is going to allow them to roam really quickly, clear waves as they try to get kills, so they don't miss experience. Because as we talked about on the desk here, or during the game, you guys didn't hear us, obviously. We talked about the lack of experience gained for RED Canids when they were doing these 4 or 5-man ganks and things like that. And on this map, this is why I think they picked it.
Exactly.
You don't miss that experience. You've got good wave clear, so you're never really missing out.
You're right on the money. This is exactly what I was going to ask. Because overall, can Roll20 adapt to that kind of style, Jay Howe, where especially something like Lucio provides you ample time on a smaller map
Very
to
much.
just snowball hard with 5 early on, pre-10?
Yeah, if you actually look back in history on Tomb of the Spider Queen, especially last year when it was the ETC Murd and meta, it was a matter of like, all right, you want to hard rotate between lanes and kind of get that clear. The 2 best heroes that you could possibly use, you get the dismount between Murd and ETC, and you also, as Wolf talked about as well, you have that early gank potential, the power slide follow-up combo, you get the boop out. And when you're in between lanes, this is the one thing that's very important. When you're in between lanes, you're nowhere near the toss range over the wall.
Right.
It's your best opportunity to get those kills.
All right, time for game number 2. Can Red Canids surprise everyone and take it at 2-0, or can Roll20 bring it on back? We're about to find out.
Roll20 brings out the big guns here with Chromie and, of course, the Garrosh from Justing, always great in the past. But will it be enough here to tie it up against Red Canids?
And can they surprise here, Red Canids against Roll20? Arguably, they already have, even if they end up losing the series, wouldn't you say, Kalaris? But still, you want to go all the way. It's nice to take a map. It's worth absolutely nothing on the score sheet in the end if you end up losing. So let's see. Red Canids, I think they have a good draft.
I'm ready to move into this Battle Queen. I think I agree with you too. Let's go ahead and move into the Battleground. And Red Canids, you come to this Battleground and you see heroes on that side that you expect on this Battleground. Wave clear, kill potential, the Gray main being here, Rhaegar as well, helping push the Battleground forward. You look at Roll20 and you see heavy kill potential, but the wave clear I'm worried about.
Exactly. And you know, Genji has not been such a good hero. From the heroes that they have played a recent amount, Roll20, which we see here on the left in the blue, have one of the lowest win rates on Genji within their team. Chromie, Garrosh, fantastic. Genji, not so much. And they continue to look at him with a ban in the first draft, now a pick. And it is definitely very much about pickoffs here, whereas Red Canids, who we see here in the red on the right, have a much more stable composition.
A stable composition that can be great in the early game. You have your ETC to roam around between lanes. He's safe against Garrosh. You have Sonya in the bottom lane, who theoretically should do very well down there. Usually you see that Genji pick up as a way to try and counter her, as you want to be able to push and take her out, as Sonya's kind of overextend, right? They usually want to get in those fights. They know they're a bully.
Because they win the lane so easily, so you want to make use of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fury Zero may be in trouble here as he gets thrown by Garrosh. Smatic goes for a combo in an uncharacteristic manner, actually misses out on that combo, but still landing those sandblasts. But look at this, 9-0 on the hero. But we can look at past undefeated heroes like the Genji from Fnatic and see that in this tournament, that means nothing.
This is BlizzCon. I mean, it means something, right?
Exactly.
But every unbroken record can get broken, let's put it like that, at the BlizzCon, the biggest of stages of the entire year for Heroes of the Storm esports.
This is BlizzCon. Records can be broken and rules can be broken. There on the top is taking some damage from Justing and crew, and it's what Roll20 will be doing. They will be active, looking for these fights. They want to get those engages, follow it up into a silence and then a Chromie combo. If they can land on someone like Lucio here, they could definitely go for the kill.
So little timeout there on that. Lucio got pulled into a time trap. If coordinated well, that can be a pretty huge combination with Chromie's spells for an easy hit, but cooldowns need to be available.
Very hard to pull that off. Put a time trap down, pull a target into it, and then fall up into the Chromie combo. Gonna have that synergy from Roll20, which is something that they focused on in their boot camp. So far, nothing really paying off too well for either of our teams. Red Canids, though, have gotten pretty darn safe. They've gotten to a point where they are starting to rotate between the bottom and top, bring all 5 to the middle so they can fight at will if they need to.
Yeah, and we saw this last game too, didn't we? Like the ETC at level 5 coming to the top 10 pole with the power slide, getting a few kills. It doesn't get you that far ahead on a map like Sky Temple. What it gains you is laser shots, but you lose lane XP.
Fury Zero.
But on this map, you can get some bonus gems from those kind of moves as well. As even though you lose front minion experience, the Web Weaver creatures will still be there, so you can pick up gems. And kills grant gems as well.
Yeah, you can take away gems from your opponent. 4 right around the corner for both of our teams here. Very curious to see what Brian will be building into. Been seeing that phase shield build a lot. Great here for the Genji too, which I feel like they kind of need to pull off. That Genji's gonna need protection for when he dies later on in the game.
Yeah, she has the best targeted burst heal here from anyone. Sonya goes down there quite overextended indeed. And of course, why was she so far forward? Well, you can thank Garrosh for that, the resident villain in the Nexus.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to ever thank Garrosh, man. Whenever he's in my games, I'm a little flustered with that character. Garrosh doing well in this tournament and already
Speaking of the Garrosh,
grabbing another target. Tulin hoping to escape. Is anyone else from Roll20 gonna come help? Yes, there it is. Glaurung wants to help Tulin as he gets focused down by Prismatic on the right side. A sandblast to the face.
oh, that was so close. There we go. Gilday and Cocktail. Quite a few gems denied there as well, getting their pound of flesh as Tulin got tossed over the wall so unceremoniously by Garrosh.
Big pickups from our teams here. A total of 3 kills so far. Roll20 2-1. The experience still neck and neck, but we have had some gems lost for the Red Canids between those 2 kills. A total, I believe, 25 have been lost by them, and potentially more here as we have Rhaegar falling. It's okay, Fury Zero will move forward and grab them, but still, only 17 more gems left for them.
Yeah, so many gems denied here, and in this sense, Roll20 is playing the map just wonderfully, bullying whomever steps out too far. And you need to step out far because you want to pick up those gems, making Garrosh such a good pick on this battleground.
Both Chromie and Garrosh excel in the map before the first outer walls do fall. Justin and crew are looking for their first turn in here as they have 44 in and they have 9 more available on their team to go for it. Another throw once again from Justin. Will be on Moritz. He gets picked off on the side, but with the web or the minion wave coming in, he's protected just enough for Vieira to come over and help him out.
Now, if you just tuned in, Roll20 is behind here against RED Canids. Roll20 said they will definitely advance out of this group. And there's also Tempest and Dignitas. So this is a very stacked group. Now they're behind the one map against RED Canids. They said they will win RED Canids fairly easily without really showing anything important. That illusion has been squashed utterly. Like whatever we see here, the Chromie, the Genji, the Garrosh, this is their life on the line. You do not drop to the loser bracket in a group with Dignitas and Tempest and maintain your composure and confidence. So we see 100% of Roll20 here versus 100% of RED Canids, unlike maybe what you could expect in map number 1. So it's really on here, it's serious.
You can see it on their faces after game number 1. You looked at the entire
Passion.
group, all 5 of them, and they were very focused on what they would be doing for game number 2. Just completely forgetting about game number 1 and grabbing what they could for Tuma the Spider Queen. Buds trying to work in that turn-in right now. 3 more gems for Roll20 to get that turn-in. Very important to grab him for 10. And Chromie, being the sneaky character she is, runs the bottom side and gets it.
That's Greymane. He still has his disengage. Will use it, narrowly escaping from that Dragon Breath thanks to Vieira. Vieira now in danger as well. Goku had to make a judgment call, jump in or not. Chose not to. He get away. Now Blue Web Weavers for Roll20. Let's see what they can do with it. The pickup for Chromie is going to be slowing sands.
This is where we should see Roll20 grab a substantial lead. They already have about a half a level, but we can see that extended by even a full level here if they're able to break down these front walls and potentially even a fort. The way they are laying up enemy lanes right now, it looks like they're just looking for the experience from the turrets. They'll grab the 2 on the bottom here, grab some in the middle as well with Garrosh and Chromie. RED Canids clearing out the bottom side and threatening an idea of fight there on top of Buds, but with the middle lane disappearing, they had to pull away.
Goku jumps in, has deflect, knows he is safe. Muris with the pull in gets deleted. Silence arm is huge. Dragon Blade level 10. Clear some waves with a sword.
This is the Roll20 that we were expecting in game number 1. Quick and decisive. 2 members have fallen, Sonya and Greymane. Fort falls afterwards as well. Roll20 is taking every small advantage and starting to run with it.
And it was all going to come down to this. If Roll20 can get the kills with Garrosh, the setup and everyone else, if they can get the pickoffs, they will pull ahead. But RED Canids had the really good rotational setup, the double support, the double warrior. Sonya, the late game powerhouse. But for now, it looks like Roll20 is executing pretty much to a T. Conjurer's Pursuit is completed here on Chromie, and she will get that ability power as well.
Grubby, as we move towards level 10 here for the RED Canids, do you move into Mosh Pit with so many interrupts available for Roll20?
I mean, there's Polymorph, Emerald Wind, and the Silencing Arm, and the Garrosh Pulse. It seems too difficult. He does it anyway. It worked out well last game. There were fewer interrupts, arguably. But let's not forget that the cleanse was always on point at the beginning of Mosh Pit. And so this gives you a little bit of Mosh Pit even against the best of interrupts.
And it does here. The cleanse beat for the Rhaegar. Jay Shrita and Tulin will have to work together and make sure to communicate. Roll20 gets another turn in here. They'll go ahead and continue to send them more forward. Red Canids are looking for a fight, but they just can't find it. It's quite difficult to do this when slowing sands keeps popping up.
Yeah, so much zoning, slowing sands, a lurking arm here from Stukov. Would you rather walk through a complete slowing field or a complete silencing field? Will he press Mosh Pit? Tulin.
But
Not yet.
gets the arm. The Web Weaver will be the main focus here for Canids. They are stuck in the slowing sands, but finally heal on out.
Oh, taunt!
Justing forces the fight. Incessant healing needs. Silence comes out. Mosh Pit being used.
Mosh Pit gets a lot of damage on Stukov, but will he go down to Vieira? It looks like there's enough heal between Glowing on him. Greymane gets taken out, and a big pull-in combo from Garrosh.
Goku showing off the Dragon Blades, continues to dice, becoming a living blender as he moves into Tulin and Vieira, working the damage in. They will back on up, but the fort, it's done.
Very nice managing of that attack by Red Canids. Lucio turned on his speed boost. They jumped in with the Mosh Pit, and you know, it was so close to get Stukov, but the follow-up damage just wasn't quite there. We can see Go for the Throat is on cooldown, but the kill wasn't confirmed. And now Roll20 is running with it, going for keep damage.
Another pull-in from Justing. Tulin taking the damage, has to power slide away, which is unfortunate. When you have that engaged, you usually want to try and for the power slide afterwards if you're trying to actually force a fight on your opponent. But with the Lucio in the top lane, forced to clear out the Web Weaver push, Red Canids just could not take that fight. Eventually do pull away and save their keep, but it's starting to look pretty scary for them.
Nice save by Tulin. Will prevent the interrupt there. Cleanse comes out. That's not ideal. They would like to ideally save Cleanse for Mosh Pit. This means that as soon as Mosh Pit is available, there is a 12-second no cleanse period still. So Tulin needs to have the discipline not to use that Mosh Pit right away. Red Canids do get that turn in on account of Lucio being top. Interrupt by Tulin. So now let's see what they can do with it. The problem is you can't 5-man push with Web Weaver. Normally you'd like to at this stage in the game, but because you don't have talent lead yet, it's a bit risky.
Especially against Garrosh, who is excels whenever you are pushing into him for him to set up that combo to throw at target. So they spread up, put Sonya on the bottom to make sure they get that lane pushing out. 3 are in the middle, and they had 1 on the top to go ahead and push in as far as they can. But Roll20, with the aid of Chromie, were able to burn through that top Web Weaver. Middle is dealt with, and the bottom side should be dealt with as well. Roll20 has got to be happy with this defense.
Yeah, it looks like Red Canids is unwilling to push into any gate that is still intact because of the Garrosh threat. They don't know where he's at currently. Now they have eyes on him. Vieira, nice dodge.
This is the moment here. If Red Canids can find a target to jump onto, this is where they want to fight. They have all 5 here. They have the talent equalized with their opponent.
Now Gloring is doing the value play. He's actually using Brightwing to double lane, mid and top. So Red Canids is under heavy time pressure. They can't let this keep happening. They are strong together as 5, and as anytime Brightwing splits, they need to make something happen fast into the open arms of Garrosh.
Tulin gets thrown and power slides out again. Brightwing was near the area, so I can see why he retreated from that fight. Also near a gate and a couple of turrets. Really hard to go for that hard engage. Maraz gets chunked and Ancestral Link has to come out. Red Canids does not want to use that heroic ability there.
Yeah, not like this. You have double support, and it's the simple poke pressure of Prismaticism that makes them cast it in this way. 49 stacks for Chromie. You need 60 in order to get a shadow of yourself. That does another 40% Sand Blast damage. Not too shabby at this point. Could be better, I suppose, but it's working so far.
49 out of 60. Looking good there for that Chromie. 16 right around the corner too, half a level away. Roll20 is in a large lead against Red Canids. Red Canids need to find a way to disrupt their opponent. Invades are a possibility, waiting for 16 when you get those power spikes and Sonya and Greymane. That Nerves of Steel obviously becoming online makes it a little bit easier for her to engage. Tulin might have to be the one though that sets up his team. A power slide on a couple of targets could be great into a mosh pit, but you have to watch out. Again, we talked about it earlier, the disrupts a bit too much.
Plus, yeah, and plus you don't want to force your team to go through a slowing sands. And so even if you saw an opportunity to get the perfect mosh pit there, if Greymane can't follow, it is useless. Either team has enough gems to pay right now, but the Chromie interrupts are very real.
Red Canids can't afford to sit here and take the poke. Chromie excels in this position. There was an engage here. A phase shift came in. There was an attempt on an Emerald Wind, but we have Brightwing get it interrupted, and Glarong's low.
What?
He survives!
Glarong?
Red Canids loses Sonya instead, and possibly a Greymane as we have Chromie coming in with the Dragon's Eye, landing the skill shot.
Prismaticism with the Eye of the Tiger here, getting Prismaticism down as well. That was certainly an interesting mosh pit, but it looked like Brightwing was going to get absolutely taken out. Oh, Warlord's challenge, another kill. Viera goes down, Lucio gets taken out there by that silence, and now the call is easy. It is boss immediately. Clean up that top fort and maybe push all the way to the keep.
Red Canids has to hate sand right now. It's rough and coerced. It's such a pain for them to deal with. The slowing sand's coming in. The damage from Chromie, it's too much here. Roll20, after a swing of kills, will grab the boss and have a turn-in.
That is a lot of pressure here. They're going to be pushing with that boss, allowing the Web Weavers to passively push in mid and bottom lane. Glarong with a little bit of value play there as Brightwing in the middle lane. He's certainly going to be porting in anytime soon here. Need that peekaboo vision and support the team. Slowing Sands though, as long as the gate is the only entrance point, is very strong.
Yeah, there's no major struggle actually. Brightwing continue to keep pushing in this middle side. Red Canids are showing no sign of a fight. And why would they? 15.5 behind their opponents in talents. They have yet to get the engage they want. Their confidence is severely lacking right now, but it makes sense. Roll20 is steamrolling.
Yeah, exactly. Every attack perfectly deflected with the counter attack. Roll20. And note how Garrosh is using his throw. He's actually using his Earthshaker throw to toss people into a predictable location for Chromie. Not just doing the, let's say, the Hero League play, where you always pull someone in and then throw them over your shoulder like you're gonna marry them. No, actually, you don't throw warriors in there always. You just set them up for kills into a silence. And there we go. Mosh Pit is
done.
Ambitious and done.
Goku just slides in here, full health already. He doesn't need an Uther, he doesn't need a Rhaegar. He's got a Brightwing. 3 kills taken in here. Greymane and Lucio, the only ones left standing here for the Red Canids. Can Roll20 move forward and go straight for boss? It appears so as Buzz leads the charge.
And he will use his flailing swipes there to create a bit of space, standing within the slowing sands. It's not like Ethereal Sanctification quite, but that's a lot of zoning. A very nice protective no-go zone. Taking out Lucio for good measure, presumably. Nope, just let him go. The core, after all, is available.
Roll20 has woken up here. The series is tied 1-1, and we'll be going to a game number 3. They required their big guns, but the big guns, they were enough.
No power fists here, no excessive cheering. They know they have been pushed to the brink against the team that was barely supposed to even pose any threat to any team here. Red Canids, they went down 0-1, they did make the equalizer, but they know they still need to win the next, and they were forced to show their hand. And this is a lot of valuable information to the future opponents of Roll20, if Roll20 should make it to the bracket stage.
Going into game number 3, kind of hoping we'll see a bigger map there. Red Canids seemed to be a bit better when they weren't so clumped together, and going in for those flanks aggressively on their opponents. But still, I'm excited here as we get ready for that game at number 3. Let's go ahead and go to our desk and hear their thoughts about 2-minute Spider.
That's right, a solid performance coming out from Roll20 esports there, and overall what we could see was basically Prismaticism popping off. Very impressive stuff on Chromie.
Like I said, going into this, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a 50 KDA. I'd like to see what it's going to be like after that. I'm sure we'll be able to get that updated, but I said that this is Roll20's battleground. They don't just win, right? When they win, they dominate. And I think that's one of the things that I couldn't state any bit further is that they look so good. When they're on, it really felt like there was no point. There was a couple of like really good mosh pits. They almost got the kill onto the Brightwing, but outside of that, it felt like there was really no threat to that composition. I think that Roll20 played it wonderfully.
Yeah, and I mean, their pick potential was fantastic. I mean, we were discussing about the ideals of, you know, the flip into the Stukov Lurking Arm, into the ability for Emerald Wind, amongst many other crowd control abilities. And, you know, we saw for the most part the early game, it was quite lackluster. It wasn't really happening.
It wasn't flawless. Yeah. It wasn't a flawless performance.
No,
right.
no, we're thinking, when's it going to happen? You know, RED Canids are still within this one, they're still within this one, but then suddenly the Chromie one-shot comes across, you're thinking, here we go, back to basics. They're playing the combos that they know how to play. They get the win. As you say, that map was a bit of a 50-50 between the two, but this is why Roll20 are so strong on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
I think the Chromie play often forced out a lot of heals and tools to be used early defensively because of that damage. We saw a lot of Ancestrals just used casually outside of a team fight because someone was taking so much damage. I do want to give mad props to Stukov in that game, though. So much silence, so much interrupting of the Mosh. Mosh looked like a silly idea in that game, so really good play, good CCs. The early game weak, but they turned it up in the end.
And even the bio kill switch, there's a few times I believe there's like one moment where Glatron got caught so dangerously low. He gets away on little to no health whatsoever. The bio kill switch comes across. How many fights could have gone differently given the chasing potential of the Lucio for Red Canids? I mean, it leaves a lot to be like, potentially this was closer than we thought.
All right, gentlemen, 1-1 at the moment here. We're going to go to a short commercial break, but when we return here to the HGC 2017 finals,